So I will put demand forecasting example, submit. There you go, that's me. So we got 2 for procurement, very important. Procurement is very, very important activity. That's where the supply chain takes off in your organization. For each of the entity in supply chain, procurement is the first step, then the delivery. Data analytics, very important emerging science for supply chain professionals. Demand forecasting, that's where everything begins. We see the demand and then we go from there. That's very important. I'm so happy to see presentation and communication. That's, like Jennifer said, some skills are across all professions, including supply chain. You have a very nice idea, good proposal to save some money for the company. Excellent idea. How do you present it? Is it convincing? Do you have the number, right number? Do you know how to play the story? That's important. So we got more coming up in procurement. Again, very important function. Thank you so much for sharing that, guys. It's really very important for us to know where we are going. And then let's move on to the next topic, which is the candidate. That's us, you and I. Okay. How do we build our value architecture? First of all, without any question, we need to have the knowledge that comes from our academic learning from college, university. We keep learning many, many places, talking to friends, speaking and going to webinars, reading books. But knowledge, the structured knowledge comes from your structured training, college, university, or institute like ours. So mastery of supply chain fundamentals. Fundamentals are so important that you cannot ignore their worth. Fundamentals is basically you enter into, 2 people enter a warehouse, right? One is supply chain professional, the other is accounting professional, finance, right? So what comes to their mind when you look at all the racks and all the moving machinery and equipment? The finance guy will think, what's the worth of this inventory and the financial terms of inventory, and are they all auditable? They're audited. So that's the question. Supply chain professional will immediately think of what's the coverage, for how long it is good. Is good 1 week inventory or 1 month? Is it suited for the demand that's coming in? So see, different questions. That's your fundamental. You train your mind to ask those questions, get those answers immediately, without any effortless thinking. That happens when you really go into discussions and learn through various media. The skills. Then the good next step. You analyze everything in terms of supply chain. That's your profession. That's your responsibility towards the company. And you need to lead the thought. You are thought leaders. Nobody in that room where you sit with colleagues should have more knowledge about your own subject. If you are an inventory person, hey, who else should know more about inventory than yourself? I think there's a challenge. So I need to keep polishing, keep finishing my skills. Then experience. Experience is very good. I mean, no amount of training or academic learning can match experience. People learn from experience, very, very important things, and that's why they are valued. However, experience also can be a trap. Because my experience for 30 years in the same company is like limited to that company's processes, the products. If I go to a different industry, I will have to relearn the industry, right? So experience is very, very valuable, but don't limit yourself. Keep looking around, what else is happening. A good way to start is your vendors. What are they doing? How their supply chain working? Because they're relevant to you as well. You buy stuff from there, use in your processes. It's a good way to start. Look at your distributors. How did they? So you expand your knowledge. Keep learning from experience. Expand your experience, not just limit to your own silo, or that's not good. Professionalism. So ethics, very, very important. The moment you demonstrate that you're ethical, professional, you're reliable, you stand up your commitments, you will stand out. You are noticed. That's your credential that nobody can match unless they are equal in value. So that's your value architecture. I'll leave it at that and then move on to the next very important topic, which is navigating mapping your route. And I think Jennifer is the best one to comment on that, please.
Thank you, Aftab. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions about supply chain is that there is only one career path. And in reality, there are many, many paths, and very few careers follow a perfectly straight line. I think this slide illustrates that pretty well. And I think anyone out there that even has a little bit of experience behind them would agree with me here. In fact, if I look back on my own career, I certainly did not make a straight line. And I hope that, is relatable for everyone out there.
Yes.
So I like to think of these as 3 different highways, if you will. We've got the analytical path, right? If you enjoy working with data, solving problems in that capacity, and making decisions based on information, an analytical path may be a great fit for you. Operational, if you enjoy seeing things happen, right? The moving products, improving processes, leading teams. Operations could be, where you thrive. And, for me, much of my own career has been in like this operations highway, if you will. And what I love most is that every day presents a new challenge to solve. We also have strategic, right? If you enjoy working with suppliers, negotiating, planning for the future, or even helping organizations make long-term decisions, a strategic path could be the right fit for you. So, one thing I've learned is that your first job doesn't necessarily determine your entire career. Every experience teaches you something. And over time, you begin connecting those experiences together. So sometimes the opportunities you didn't plan or plan for become the ones that shape your career the most. So I would say, don't worry about choosing the perfect path here. Focus on choosing a direction and continue learning as opportunities appear for you. And really, regardless of which path you choose, there are certain skills that employers value across all of them. So, we can now take a look at those and what our audience maybe has interest for in these fields. I believe our next slide, Aftab, is a poll slide again.
Yeah, exactly. And the segue to that next topic, I'm just going to the comments and the chat box. There is from Adicola. She's saying, I'm not sure yet, right? Well, that's a good point to start. If you're not sure, you can look at what's available, right? And then you start picking. You have to make a decision. Of course, you know that. So you cannot be unsure for too long. So it's good to be unsure for right now. It keeps the options open, available, flexible. However, look at the available information and your passion. What drives you? Do you like to sit behind a screen and do analytics and help decision making support? Do they do the decision support and do all the number crunching, or you want to stand up in front of a crowd and present the numbers and grab the decision yourself? So both are very important, equally important. So those personal preferences and your own savvy, your number savvy, or more like communication savvy, that should be a tip or help to help you make decisions. I'm looking at others who are put a CIPS graduation. They are excellent. So yeah, I think we'll have the chat also available, Jennifer, for ourselves to go through and map the whole thing.
Yes, I agree. I think, like you mentioned, Aftab, I think the important part is that you have to know yourself.
Yes.
And sometimes it takes trying something before you can really decide whether or not it's a good fit for you.
Exactly. So let's try this one, guys. Cell phones out.
Sure.
I'm going to go there.